Good morning, everybody. I'm hoping that you can see me and hear me okay. I thought I would pop on and do a little live stream because I've not done anything on YouTube in a little while. So I thought before I open the shop up today, I would pop online and share with you guys like my thoughts, I suppose, on my experience with using Buy It Now and how I think it's completely obviously my own issue, but I feel that Buy It Now is making me overprice my items, and I feel this way for a number of reasons. Recently, I have been doing a little bit of selling to resellers, and I've been selling them items, and it's been really interesting to look at pricing. And these are all items that have got sales history, etc. So it should be quite easy for me to price them. And I think overall, I do price my items according to the market in the main. However, I tend to always price my items, I think, towards the higher end of the completed listings and the sold listings. So I'm always, whenever I price something, I always go into the solds, see what sold recently, and I'm always tending to go for the more top end of what something can achieve. And recently, like I said, I've been selling a few items to different resellers, and more out of because just space issues and things like that, and some good items as well. It's really items that I should have probably sold myself, but what I kind of found was when I looked at the when I was selling them to these other resellers, they were actually having great success in selling the items that I hadn't been able to sell. And I don't think I'd given some of these items a very long time at all, but bear in mind, some of them I'd never even listed, they just went straight through. But some of them I had listed and I removed and then sold on. And then the other people have managed to sell those items very, very quickly. And the main difference was it wasn't really keywords or anything like that, it was simply my prices were like significantly more what I was asking. And I think the reason why I tend to end up just going for the more higher end is because most of the time I'm sticking best offer on items, and I just fool myself into thinking, okay, I'll ask a little bit more. Maybe it's only your £10 or £20 more, but I think £10 or £20 can be the difference. Sometimes even more. I mean, like I'm talking about items that I was asking maybe 59.99. Someone else was getting the sell very quickly because they'd sold the item at 39.99. Now, if the items only cost you £5 or something like that, or £10, 39.99 is still a good return on investment. Um, and it means that the item's gone very quickly. You could cash out and move on. And I would find that I'd be asking like 59.99, and then it would end up sitting there. And I noticed that my prices are consistently between 20 and probably at least 20, sometimes £30 more than what other people are selling for. And I think part of that was because they had achieved these higher £20 more prices or £30 more prices, but they obviously weren't achieving those regularly. Regularly, they were probably achieving like the lower end, and I'm just sticking them up at this high end price, and then I'm sticking on best offer, thinking, oh, I've got best offer. And I think best offer can be like a little crutch in that respect. So I find that I'm like, sometimes if you think about it from a buyer's perspective, if someone is like that far overpriced, sometimes you're not even going to want to broach the subject, and you may just like not even bother engaging with that listing, and you might engage with a listing that's going to be like a bit closer to what your expectation of what you wish to pay for something is. And I think that's just something I want to like work on. um Right, let's see what the chat is saying. We've got Pleasant Valley Picker in. Thank you for popping in. Fix It for Reselling. Lee says morning, bit early. After midnight for Pleasant Valley. Yeah. Sorry about the time there, Pleasant Valley. It's just I just randomly decided to go live now. This just fits me. You tried to list sell similar CD and it doesn't seem to work anymore. I didn't. I've not had any issues with that. It wanted me to list an identical item. I I don't know, man. I don't know about that. He thinks no one's here. He's so early. Guess you and Beck don't do Friday lives anymore. Yeah, at the moment we're not doing any lives, Pleasant Valley. We just haven't been in the right place to do them. Oh, it just doesn't suit lifestyle at the moment. My junk mail says excellent point. I tend to do the same now in the last month. I've become competitive, especially if I'm getting a good deal. Yeah, buying the stock. Yeah, that's just it. I find that buy it now can make you or encourage you. Sorry, best offer can encourage you sometimes to always reach for the top item. And like recently, like I said, I've sold items to other sellers, and other sellers have managed to sell those items within a couple of days of listing them. And I've had these same items for a week or two. And I find myself as well, when I price something correctly, it sells very quickly, especially if it's an in-demand item and you price it correctly. It should sell within a day or two. And I'm finding that it's a big issue of mine that, because I put best offer on, and I noticed some of these other resellers. By the way, these aren't necessarily people that are in our like YouTube community. These are just people I know like personally. I've met them, meet at car booths and whatnot and auctions and things. So like I know of them, I have their telephone number, etc. So it's like real life kind of stuff. So it's just interesting because I'm happy. I was happy to sell to them at the price. Obviously, I sold to them because it was great cash flow and move stuff out. But it's interesting as well because you can always learn from things, right? And it clearly just shows I'm overpricing my items. I'm overpricing them by, on average, it looked like on a number of things I saw between 20-30 pounds, and that was the difference between me sitting on an item asking like 80 when I could have sold it with like a week ago for 60. Now I'd personally be more than happy with that because I'm never paying more than like £10 a unit like on these things. I'm mostly paying under that. So I'm gonna now like either turn off best offer, or I'm gonna price the item like at the price, like at a competitive price. And then best offer really should be about giving the customer like an even better deal. So unless you're willing to do that, then I think you should just probably not have best offer on. I know some people like to have best offer on because obviously it can bump you up the rankings and whatnot. But from what I've seen, other people do, they don't necessarily have best offer and they still make the sales because the price is correct. I really do feel like that's a big issue for me personally. So it's something I thought I wanted to share with you. Barry Brown says good morning. Fix It for Reselling says self-semblers have been fine here. Skillet says morning all. I'm finding the price is now king. People are watching spend very carefully now. I'm finding people fight over 50p, so I accept, says Skillet. Well, that's a good point, Skillet. We are obviously in the midst of like this whole cost of living crisis, and people want to get the best value for money. And I guess that it's just it's important to be mindful of that, and don't like kind of rinse things too much. I think in the past I've enjoyed, and I think in the past I've been successful at getting near the top end. I always want to get as much money for an item as possible, but you can end up sitting on that, and especially if it's a popular competitive item. So for example, if you're selling something like, I don't know, like a Wii game like Mario Kart or whatever, you're gonna, if you price it too high, there's not like there's ever a shortage of those games being listed. Those games are being listed and they're selling every day. So if you overprice yours is never going to be the one that gets picked off. Whereas if you price it correctly, you'll sell it within 24 hours. So you've got to accept what the going rate of these things is. And I hate to come across as like when I say things like, oh, you've got to accept, as if I'm like preaching to you guys. This is more just me like, like thinking about something, realizing it, and just sharing it because this is what I need to implement. I feel like my pricing has been a massive issue. Like I said, on average, £20 to £30 overpricing something. And if you're £20 to £30 overpriced, you might think, well, if you've got best offer on, surely someone's going to be okay. If you're £20 or £30 overpriced compared to the market, they're going to send a best offer. I've not been getting as many best offers as maybe in the past. People are not sending offers out. People are either accepting offers that I'm sending out, so you're using the offers to watches feature. So people are either accepting those offers, or they're not sending offers as often as they used to. Whereas if I'm pricing something correctly in the first place, especially when you first list something, it's so important, because I think sometimes I've been guilty of this, and I've heard a lot of other people talk about this as well. When they first list an item, they always say, "Well, I'll list it for this, and if it doesn't sell after a month, I'll start dropping the price, and I'll drop the price, I'll drop the price." But the problem I find with that is, but you're then negating the benefit of the new item. So when you list a new item, you're going to be higher up the search results. You're going to be more visible to buyers. So if you're wasting that initial new listing boost that your listing gets by being like not priced correctly, you're just wasting that, and then you're going to have to wait until you either sell similar the item or something before you can benefit from it. So it's kind of painful, but you've got to price. I find I'm going to price now at the best price I'm willing to take on an item from the off. That's what I'm going to go for. And then if I've put best offer on that listing as well, that's me saying I'm willing to take even less than what I would consider a really good price for a particular item. So for example, I'm going to be listing this thing. This is a really cool item. It is a Noctua cooler, and it comes with this really giant shite. I don't know if I've messed that up or not, but it comes with this really giant 15 centimeter Noctua fan. No, sorry, 15. Isn't? No, it's not 15 centimeters. I can't remember what it is. Is it? Is it? Yeah, it's got to be a 15 centimeter fan. I don't know, but yeah, big fan, 150 millimeter fan, which slots in between these two giant fins, and it's got its mounting plate. Now, brand new, these are about 70-80 pounds, but this I'm going to be doing like at a really good price. So when I list it, I want it to just I just want it to go, I just want it to go. Let's get back into the chat and say a few hellos, because I think a few people have popped in, which I do appreciate. Paul and Lou says, I'm getting loads of best offers anyway on items without best offers. Think people got no cash at the moment. Oh, that's interesting, Paul and Lou. Appreciate you sharing that. That's okay though, as I often am on the panel Fridays with a great gal from Texas. We talk about pop culture like films and TV. Oh, please share that, because I would like to see. I'd like to see that. Hi, Will36. Get Z, would you mind if I post? No, of course I don't mind. Post the link. Please go ahead, post the link. That's appreciate you asking. Two Aussie thrifters. Hey, Brad and Jazz. Thanks for popping in, UK gang. I'm guessing that's gonna be Brad. I'm not sure. Because Jazz normally has her own, doesn't she? Antoinette Daly, thank you for popping in. Z, am I on Twitter? I think I am on Twitter, yes, but I don't know what my username is. I've not used it in a while. It's probably only cool stuff or something. I'm not sure. I just figured out how to message friends there. Skillet says, I find the past few months crazy offers like 70 to 80% below my list price, so I auto decline a minimum offers. That's a good point. I mean, obviously you don't want to be bombarded with stuff like that. So I would say just, you know what, if you're confident in your pricing, I would say you shouldn't need best offer. I think if you're confident that your pricing at the price that where the item is gonna just sell at, I don't think you need best offer. I've had plenty of sales in the past where I've priced correctly, and even more recently, like, because obviously things change, and what works on eBay changes. So speaking more recently, I'm looking at these other sellers. They don't mess with best offer. In fact, these sellers don't. Not only do they not mess with best offer, they don't even mess with promoted listings. So, for example, like, we obviously, most of us in this chat, I'm guessing, there's what, 23 people in here apparently. If there's about 23 people in here, I bet you most of you, about 15 of you at least, are doing promoted listings. Now, these sellers that I'm talking about, that I've personally sold these items to, not only do they not promote listings, they don't do best offer, but they are selling. And it's because they're selling good items. I know they're good items because I've sold them to them. Good items, and they're selling them and pricing them at a good competitive price. They're not trying to milk every penny out of an item, and I think that's important. What else are people saying? My eBay has picked up, says Pleasant Valley. That's fantastic, good profit. Fix It for Reselling Lee says, I think it's also what category you regularly list in. I seem to sell electronics at a higher price than others listed. I think you've got a point there as well, Lee. I do feel that eBay does obviously want to know what traffic to send you. So the more consistent you are in a particular category, because obviously they track, how much you sell in each category, what your most sold category is. They give you that information, so you know that they're looking at it and they're tracking it. So their algorithms are aware of, well, this shop sells a lot in the hi-fi section, so by doing that you're going to get more hi-fi customers, which is going to give you a chance to build more repeat customers. So I do think there is something to that. I think right now my store is pretty balked because I've gone from being a full-on radio control car parts store to a full-on toy and pop culture store to electronics store to a jack of all trades store. I've had so many different faces on the store, it's probably a complete jumble right now, so I do need to give it some kind of an identity. But I do think there's some good points there. Lolzy, you should be teaching a university class. I'm not smart enough to teach any kind of class, Pleasant Valley, but I appreciate you saying that. A lot of other categories I sell in, I'm always taking offers. Professor Z, I wish there, Brad, I wish. Um, Hi Babs at the Attic Vintage and Collectibles. How are you? Thank you for popping in. Fix It for Reselling Lee says, it's like when I buy stuff from you that you've had listed a while. I seem to sell it in a week with the same price you had it at. See, there you go, Lee. See? Lee's a good example. I've sold stuff to Lee at great prices as well. By the way, Lee, if you ever want more stuff, you should give me your number as well, because I'm getting a lot of stuff at the moment, more than I've been able to deal with. So if there is any stuff, I will give you a call, and obviously I'll let you know the condition and stuff, and it will be, my prices. You know my prices. Um, Pete says, hi Z in chat, I sell about 50% on offers sent out and received, says Pete's Retro Collectibles. Pleasant Valley has shared the link for the channel. Thank you for sharing that. I will check that out, actually, Pleasant Valley. Brad and Jazz, it says both of us today. Good to see. Oh, that's lovely. I hope you both are well. I know you guys are on your, on this whole adventure kick right now. You guys' journey has just been mind blowing. I mean, very inspiring. Um, so, but that's a good point though, Lee, about being able to sell in certain categories, being a stronger seller. I think you can definitely build that. The more you kind of make sure that you're prominent in a certain category. I do agree with that. That's a good point. Some really good comments coming in. She has a very cool channel and she's a super nice lady. I will definitely check that out. I put minimums for all at about 60%, says Peace Retro Collectibles. Okay. Lee says, I never auto decline best offers. Sometimes I've had things for a while and just want it to let it go at any price. 2Aussie Thrifter says, listing at your lowest price right off the bat with no offers would at least get rid of non-payers if they have to pay straight away. Yeah, it's obviously, it's just something I've noticed, and it's specific to obviously my store. And what Lee said there earlier, Fix It for Reselling, about him listing items that I've had listed, but he lists the same item, same price, and gets the sale because he's more prominent. I think that has a part to play in it, but I think that if you're not prominent, I think you've got to be good on price. So I do agree with what he's saying there, because when I was big into the RC parts, I was getting higher prices for my RC parts than a lot of other people selling RC parts, because my store was obviously in the algorithm clocked as a store that sells radio control model parts. So I was getting much better prices. Same goes when it was all pop culture. I'd started to get better prices than other people, and so on and so forth. But right now, my store is a complete it's just a mess. I'm not going to go into details, but it's a complete shambles. And I need to give it some kind of identity. I need to build it up. I'm only at like 100 listings at the moment, and I'm still not sure what I want to do with the store right now. I need to give it some kind of direction, but I do kind of feel like it's really important to kind of bear that in mind, that if you're not prominent in a category, then in order to compete, so for example, if I'm selling a CD player for a stereo, and Lee's selling a CD player in the stereo, and Lee's selling like a, what's it called, a CD player in the hi-fi category, chances are he might still sell his quicker than me if we're priced the same. But if I price mine cheaper, then that's going to give me the edge, isn't it? So I kind of feel like maybe that's something to look at. Morning, Tam and Bell. Thanks for popping in. Jack says, if you don't promote video games, you're going to fall behind tenfold. Probably. probably. Although obviously, if you're listing games that have got, for example, like people that have got saved searches on them, I don't think you need to promote every video game. I mean, just yesterday, I think I listed and sold, a Wind Waker on the GameCube. Like it listed and sold immediately, via GSP, and that didn't have any promoted on it. But obviously, that's like a specific kind of, obviously a much more desirable game. If you're listing like I guess a PS4 game or something, it's not going to be so good. So just something to think about. But obviously your store, for example, would be quite big in electronics and games. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just going by my experience, which at the moment is not great. So you know, let's see what other people are saying. Quite a lot of people popping into the chat, so I appreciate it. My sales have changed from 90% UK to 80% US to Germany. Okay. I'll send you a message, Lee, but should be a Norcross on Saturday. I don't have anything at the moment, Lee, but if I do, what I'm saying, I don't have anything at the moment. I'm pretty clear of stock right now. I had a bit of a clear out, so but I will let you know when I get more in, because I will get more in. Maybe even today or tomorrow, I don't know. I'm getting a lot of people bringing me stuff, which I will say is amazing about the shop. I don't mind when it's quiet recently, because we're getting a lot of people. Like the market is dead today because of the weather as well. Shaba has popped in. Secret Carper has popped in. Thank you for popping in, guys. Buying and Shell Saruni has popped in. Thank you for popping in. Pete's selling. Shadow says, "Isn't feedback important? I'd rather pay a bit more for feedback." I think when you're very, very like if you're very, very new, then feedback may play a part. Like when you're like under 50 feedback or something. But I think after that it becomes less relevant. Great seeing you again, Z. I've got to get to sleep. No worries, Pleasant Valley. Thank you for popping in. Then again, I can get absolute top price for a game. Example is I've just sold a game for £90 that sold somewhere between 50 to 90. Well, that's just it, Jack, because I really think there's legs to that. I really do. I think, I mean, I've heard Daily Refinement talk about this as well, where he talks about eBay needs to know which eyeballs to send to your shop. So, you know, if eBay doesn't know what kind of customers to send to you, it's just going to send random eyeballs to you. So for example, if you promote listings but your shop is always completely random, it's never quite gonna know enough to send you relevant traffic. So you're going to end up just getting lots of traffic, lots of impressions, which in turn are going to end up in resulting in not as many sales, so your conversion won't be as good. And I think what you've said there, Jack, and what Lee said, and what I've experienced myself in the past with the RC parts and when I was doing just pop culture, it really does help to have you don't have to be completely niched, obviously, but it does help if your shop has got like an identity, like where you're a majority of something, like where you've got a big percentage of your sales or your inventory is in a single category. I think that can only help when it comes to sending traffic. That's just how I feel. I mean, could be completely wrong. Obviously, anything you listen to or hear on this channel, big grain of salt, that kind of thing. So I'm just chatting, really. I'm just chatting. It's going to be a grim cold day, so I thought I'd pop on live before opening up, and I've got some bits and pieces to do. Oh, whilst we're here, I've just had a parcel arrive. Let's do like a little unboxing. It's always nice to open a parcel, so I've just had this arrive. Ordered this on eBay, and I can't remember how much I paid. I think it was like £18 or something, so pretty happy with that. Let's have a look if it's arrived in one piece. I'm excited. I know obviously what it is. It's for the shop, really. It's not for sale. Hopefully it will work. Okay. Very nicely packed. I'm going to have to leave some really nice feedback for this person, I think. Very nicely packed. Lots of tissue. Oh, look at that. Let's move this out of the way. Ooh. I don't like all the tape that I've got to cut through, but what it must be like when people receive parcels, man. I'm excited. This is the first thing I've bought in ages. Let's see how this works out. I'm going to tape that. I'm being super careful. I don't want to drop it and break it. I think we're getting to the insides. You can see what it is now. You can see what it is. You can see what it is. Okay. Oh, I don't know if it's going to be too small or not. I think it might work. It might just work. That's cute, isn't it? That it's a bit Shabbos is a bit small for me. The idea is I want to sit. We've got an Annabelle doll. So I want to see whether we can get put this in the window with the Annabelle doll sat in it. So that's the idea, but I'm not sure if the Annabelle doll is going to be too big. It might be okay actually when it's actually sat down. So I'll kind of update you guys later on how that turns out. So hopefully that will be in the shop window with the doll sat down if it doesn't look daft. So that's the plan. I'm really happy with that. Nice little unboxing there. I'm happy. That was really good packaging, so I'll definitely be leaving positive feedback for that seller. I do feel bad for them because they did pay like more in postage than they charged. But you know that happens sometimes. It happens to all of us. Oh, the other thing I recently purchased. Check out my Volvo coat as well. Pretty impressed with this. I paid £18 for this at the charity shop. It's really nice coat, but 18 quid, man. It was brand new as well, so it was brand new with tags. Really excellent condition. Perfect for the current weather we're having. And I don't know why. I always like coats with car things on them. Oh, I should give you a Honda CR-V update as well while I've got you guys here. So as you can see, the chat is completely gone off the topic now. But we're like minutes in, so no one cares about the original topic now, do they? Yeah, if you have any comments about it, go ahead. But yeah, let me tell you, I had to spend nearly £400 to get the old CR-V to pass its MOT, but it was mostly on tyres. So it just shows you how amazing that car is. It just keeps going, 165,000 miles. It did need a little bit of welding to keep the exhaust in place. I will give you that. It did that did happen. But other than that, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's running beautifully. We've got 4 new tyres on it. Just runs gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And it just keeps going. So another year of the Honda CR-V, keeping it alive. I'm absolutely thrilled about that. Hey Kirsten, how are you? Well guys, it's nearly approaching 9 o'clock. It is a Honda, what can I say? Hey Kathy, it is early. Well, I'm about to actually go now, guys. So I really do appreciate everyone popping in. Really do. Thank you for all the comments. And yeah, I just hope that you have a little think about your pricing as well. As I certainly will be. I'm going to be pricing as if I'm not using best offer going forward, and hopefully that will make my pricing more accurate. And hopefully I'll be able to get like quicker sales from that. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you. And my little share. I'll update you guys where the Annabelle fits. Thanks for popping in, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.